And welcome everybody to In the Circle Live after we just saw a dramatic walk-off win for Team USA beating Japan 2-1. Kelsey Stewart with the heroics. I'm Victor Anderson. Eric Lopez will be joining me very shortly. Look, the timeline is blowing up because of who came in the pitch, who didn't come in the pitch, and the talk that we may have seen the gold medal game altogether because of a typhoon heading to Japan, and talks that there may not be a gold medal game Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. It's mind-boggling. So we're going to try and break all of it down as best as we can on this live stream on our YouTube page. Just a friendly reminder before we get started and go any further in our conversations, make sure you follow us on our social media, add in the Circle SB, follow me and Eric. And speaking of Mr. Lopez, he is joining me now. Dude, what did we just see?
Wow. That was I'm still in shock. That turned out to be a lot better game than it turned out to be. I am glad you're producing this show and running it because I'm still stunned and I'm a little behind because Jessica Mendoza just dropped some big news.
Yes. And actually, Eric, let's jump right into it right now. And I thought I mentioned it a little bit for the intro. There is a typhoon that is heading to Japan in the site of where the gold medal game could be on Tuesday. So for those who missed what Mendoza said on the broadcast in USA, share with us what she said and what it could mean for the results of tonight's game.
Well, it means that this is the situation. If this typhoon hits towards that area and postpones, this gold medal game is scheduled for Tuesday night over there, 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific over here in the States. But if that typhoon hits here, that's going to postpone that game. And remember, the softball stadium is shared with baseball. The baseball tournament is supposed to start. And for those that a tsunami is very much like the European Asian equivalent to a hurricane. You're not just going to be ready to go, depending how strong the tsunami is. Again, this is all speculative, but I guess the best way to explain this, imagine if the Olympics were in Florida and the softball tournament was in Florida and a hurricane's coming this way. Well, you don't know what's going to happen here. Is it going to turn? Is it not? And we got to get into this because Ken Erickson was getting bashed on social media by, why are you throwing Kat? Why are you throwing Monica Abbott? Well, guess what? I guarantee you, Victor, knowing him like I do, he knew about that tsunami. I think he kind of, let's play this safe because if they don't make up that game, and if a tsunami hits, that game is probably going to get called. We have seen, folks, the gold medal game.
And that means, if that's the case, Kelsey Stewart, just like 2018 in the World Championships, walks off Japan and gives USA the championship.
That's and here's the thing from Ken's perspective. Okay, let's say they do get the game in. Well, guess what? They're the home team. So I think Ken kind of played this to win, even though he started Carta. I think he wanted to see how this game would go, but he kept his regulars in. And I think when it got late in the game, I think he put Japan to sleep a little bit. Japan clearly played their backups. You did not see Yukiko Bueno. You did not see their number 2 either. I think they kind of was, hey, it's 1-0, no big deal. Then boom, boom, boom. He snuck him in there in the back end. That's a very Ken Erickson type move to sneak it in there. And fortunately for him, the offense came to life at the end because they looked for a while that it wouldn't matter who was pitching because they were going to get no hit. But we're going to have to watch what the weather forecast is. I had no idea about. I knew there was a tsunami that they were been talking about. Yes. In fact, it's already impacted, I guess, the rowing schedule for the Olympics. But we're going to have to monitor this. If this hits, Team USA, no pun, with all due respect, Vic, is in the catbird seat.
They are in the catbird seat, yes. But here's my question, Eric. And I'm sure a lot of people were going goo gaga. They were going goo gaga about the moves, but not knowing what was going on at the time, like we're knowing now. I felt going into it almost says, oh, it's a meaningless game. You're gonna play Japan in the gold medal game on Tuesday anyway. There's no such thing as a meaningless game to players of this caliber. Because one, you always want to win. And number two, you want to get momentum going into that gold medal game. And Japan, for 5.5 innings, felt like they were going to have the momentum, pitching their number 3, Fujita, who kept the USA off balance all night long. And then Haley McClennan get it started in the 6th. They get a couple runners on. And then they get the base hit from Arioto, who else, to tie it up at 1. And look, we talk about social media going off with all those pitching changes. If Delaney Spalding hits that ball 2 feet further and hits a grand slam, the time bomb is blowing up for an entirely different reason, because let's remember, Delaney Spalding had ACL surgery a year ago. It was a question of if she would even be a part of this team, much as playing in the Olympics. And if she hits that grand slam, we're not talking about what happened in the 7th inning. USA wins comfortably, and Delaney Spalding is the darling of this softball team. That Cal Alsterman, not Monica Abbott.
No, you're right. Let's kind of go over that game. Let's start with the fact he goes with Allie Carter. Can we just start with Allie Carter, who's fantastic? Yes. I mean, we're not having this conversation if she wasn't fantastic.
Yes.
To the point where she ate up a lot of innings. Like, my guess, and again, without talking to people over there, but just now knowing the story here, my guess is he wanted to start Carter and see how it goes, and then he was going to have those, obviously, Kat and Monica ready for whatever. But Allie was so good. Allie was sharp. Really, that one run was a disservice. It was a pass ball. I mean, she was fantastic and dominant. You know, the Cat coming in relief was weird. I think it's one of those where, hey, you're going to bring her in because it's a lefty-lefty matchup. And I think Ken was kind of that could be a prelude if they play this gold medal game on Tuesday. And I think part of it is to get them ready, get them warmed up. And then, you know, once they tied the game at 1, I think he decided, I'm going in with Monica here in the 7th and try to win this thing. Either it's because of the tsunami situation or because you want to be the home team. And remember, they have the international rule as well for the gold medal game. And you even heard on the telecast, you know this, Victor, from doing it. I mean, forget the fact that I hate the international rule, but that's a whole other story. I think it's ridiculous you're doing international rules when the games are like 3-4 hours apart and deciding a gold medal game. But nonetheless, if it gets to that point, you want to be the home team in a situation because of that. Yeah. Like if this game were to go to as you saw, an international rule on Tuesday, well, you're in a big advantage. It's good to be the home team because you know what you need. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the college football overtime rule where you let the team go first because that way you know if you need a touchdown or whatever you need. So I agree with you. I do believe this, Victor, to your point. I think this game USA took it more seriously than Japan did, which is fascinating to me. Japan did not throw Yukiko Bueno. They did not throw Goatee, their number 2 pitcher. Now, her number 3 was good too, so, whatever. But they sat some of their regulars, so they treated this like a meaningless game. If, we don't know. We're not meteorologists, right?
No.
If this gold medal game gets scrapped because of weather, the Japanese staff should be probably criticized for how they handled this game. If it plays out, this is a fascinating next 24. It's a fascinating next 24 to 48 hours here, Victor. If this game, everybody's going to become a meteorologist here between now and first pitch on Tuesday.
Well, the thing is, Eric, Jordan Taylor, who she is not afraid to speak her mind about any and all subjects on softball. She mentioned that if the gold medal game is decided because of a tsunami and the IOC not trying to move the game around somewhere, then people are going to go, they say, I've lost all faith in the IOC. Well, how long did they know? We don't know what it's going to do. I'm not going to pretend I'm Jim Cantori and going to give you like bottles and graphs and tell you where the curve is going to be and all that stuff. We don't know what's going to happen. it is going to be so. And here's the other thing we're not talking about. We're talking about the gold medal game. Yeah, it can impact the bronze medal because at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m. Australia and Mexico are going to play, and the winner of that will play Canada at midnight Tuesday for the bronze medal. But that might be impacted too.
Agreed. So you know what? Because you don't know what's going to happen, you'd rather be in a position where you're as again, I'll use the pun intended, catbird seat here, right?
Yes.
So if you're USA, you're feeling good You're feeling good. You're either going to play Tuesday being the home team with confidence and momentum, or if this game gets scrapped, you're going to bring home the gold.
Yeah.
Either way, and I think that's kind of what happened here. It's a unique deal. I understand. Look, Ken's going to do it his way, period. And you may not like you, but this worked there. They got the win. I know a lot of people are going to make, they've seen her. Now they got to see her. Well, listen, guys, there's technology. They've seen her. They've already, whether they have
played 4 games before today, ladies and gentlemen. Newsflash, Japan already has film on Cat and Monica. So what they did tonight isn't going to make that big of a difference in the grander scheme of things.
I mean, again, you got to play it out. You got to play it out.
You have to. I think that's the part that people look. The people who are talking, some of them have been in these situations before, and we're not going to doubt what they say. All we're trying to say is that Ken Erickson knows what he's doing, and they already have video on Santa Monica. So
and I think, and again, these teams have seen each other a million times.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's not like, I don't think there's going to be new tricks up the sleeve as far as by not show, if they pitch today or not. Like, it is what it is. Look, Japan might win too. They might play the game. Japan might win just because they're better. Who knows? They'll play. I mean, don't get me started. If you really want to get me started.
Look, Eric,
this is why it should be a best of 3. This is why I'm a fan of a best of 3.
You have brought that up.
Because, and again, this is why I hate this. And they brought it up. People forget this in 2008. When Japan beat the USA, that was the 3rd time they played there. They played twice during the round. They played in the round robin, and then they played in the semifinal. Remember, that was the format where, you play, and then you play yourself into the gold, and then you have to play in the bronze to get to, all that nonsense. At least here, you don't play as often because there's lesser teams, and obviously the format's different. But in theory, the U.S. has to beat Japan twice to win the gold, whereas Japan only has to win once, right, if this game gets played. I think that's a joke. I think, to me, once you get to the medal round, I like this format. Okay, this format's fine. I would just make it a best of 3 for the gold medal. And if you want to make a best of 3, we can get into whether you think there should be a bronze medal game or not. That's up to – I don't have a strong opinion either way. But do whatever you want with that. But to me, the gold medal game should be a best of 3. Yeah. Just like I just think it should. And that's when you really know who the best team are.
I think, Eric, it's so much. I feel, for me, gold medal, I still like the single game because it really shows. It's like, look, best of 3, anything can happen. Best team usually wins, maybe not, but it is what it is. So let's just enjoy the fact that we had a tremendous game. And hopefully, weather permitting, we can get a rematch of that on Tuesday morning for the gold medal. So
yeah, I think that's what everybody would want, right? Like that's what everybody that's the deal.
Yeah,
and I think that's the important thing. But look, they're not out of the woods completely. It wasn't like I said, we were 6 outs away from having a completely different show. And that offense, man, it struggled. That offense struggled big time. And thankfully I hope that they found something momentum there at the end. But if this game gets played, let's be real. They're going to face Yukiko Ueno.
It's going to be a struggle.
And somebody, I think, and somebody was asking, Jesse James is asking, can you explain the difference in the balls between the ones they use and the college ball? They've talked a little bit about it, but they didn't explain it well. So basically, the ball is heavier in the Olympics. In other words, it's not as lively of a ball in college, which means the ball tends to fly more in college, which helps offenses. Let's be real. The ball's a little deader, right? Now, I've talked to people about that, and they're kind of split on this. Some people say, yeah, that's a big factor. Some say no because they feel that the bats in the international is even like in a big advantage, and that's why the ball is kind of heavier. So depends what you want. Look, here's what I'm going to say about all this, right? Everybody's ripping the U.S. offense. Has anybody noticed, how many runs Japan has scored the last two games?
The number would be two, actually.
2 runs. 1 unearned. Actually, technically, they both were unearned because they scored a run in the international rule against Canada to get to the gold medal game, and they scored a run here on a pass ball. Canada was shut out by Japan and USA. Again, I'm going to say this again. I've said this the whole term. This is not an offensive tournament. This is Japan's not hit. The difference between U.S. and Japan up until today was Japan was hitting for power. They hit 6 home runs. The U.S. had not hit a home run until that Kelsey Stewart home run, which, of course, go figure. So the point is, teams are not putting rallies up here. The pitching is just too good at this level. Look at the pitchers that Japan and USA. Look at the pitchers that Canada has thrown. This is a pitching-dominated tournament, and I know. And we got to stop. And I'm not making total excuses for the U.S. because they would be the first to say they've got to hit better. However, I think there are some out there that think that this is still 2004 when you could score 6, 7, 8 runs in bunches with Bustos and Mendoza. This is a completely different game now. There's much more balance. It kind of reminds me of, everybody's flipping out about USA basketball situation. This ain't the dream team days where they can just show up and win by 40. Every team now in the Olympics in any country has professional NBA talent. Okay. Yes. And I'm not saying USA shouldn't be the favorites, but we got to stop acting like this is a total shock. We got to stop acting like we're shocked when USA gets shut down by a Japan or a Canada, whatever. They have arms too.
They have quality players as well in the field. So let's not go goo goo gaga when USA doesn't run rule somebody or puts up 5 runs on a board. They got great pitchers too. So let's all calm down, people. They got great.
But like I said, I'm not justifying the offense. I think there are some. I'm not justifying the offensive struggles. I was surprised we didn't see more hitters come into the game. So I think that was, to me, but that being said, look, they won the game. They have won the game. This is how they're going to win. They're going to win 2-1, 1-0 game. Let's be real. That's the way they're going to win. They're going to try to win on defense and pitching and timely hitting. It's all going to come down to timely hitting for both sides. Japan only got 1 hit, I believe, in that 2008 gold medal game. It was a home run, but they scored 2 other runs aided by U.S. errors. So it is what it is. So timely hitting and miscues probably will decide this game on Tuesday if it get, for the gold medal. All right. So we'll get into more of that as time goes. But I mean, look, as more questions have been asked, there are the pitchers being called from the pitches being called from the coach in the dugout or from the catcher. I believe it's more from the catcher side.
It's on the catchers.
I know some people have complimented that from a pace of play standpoint. There's no wristbands or any of that stuff. You're just going. There's a 20-second clock.
And also, Eric, there is a 20-second pitch clock as well. So that keeps the game flowing, that keeps the game moving. And I personally would like to see that implemented in the college game in the next 2 years. Because games in college are going much too slow. Even with the fast-paced action, it's going much too slow because you have pitchers looking at the wristbands, looking in the dugout. Then you got the coaches, you got the catchers coming out to talk to the pitchers, you got the coaches coming out to keep the game moving. Because I feel the game is better and it is more fluid when players don't have to think, when they get a chance to react. You know?
I agree. All right, so you like the 20-second clock. My only concern, it's not even a concern. Will they actually enforce it in the college game? Because they definitely enforce it here in the international game. If anybody watched the Canada-Japan game like I did, where they enforced it in the bottom of the seventh with Danielle Laurie with literally the game on the line, bases loaded, and they called her for clock violation. It was crazy. I mean, and it was one of the more dramatic things I've ever seen. But would college enforce it? Because there's some rules in college that are supposed to speed up the game that don't get enforced. You know how that works. Oh, then maybe they'll call it the first few weeks, but then they kind of look the other way.
Or some umpires call it. Some umpires don't call it, depending on the region.
Right. So I would say. So what else did you like? You like the 20-second clock. What else did you like about the pace of? I like the other one. I like if you're going to intentionally walk somebody, just give them the base.
Yeah.
Don't throw 4 pitches. That would save you time as well. So I think there are some things. I'm not a fan of the 2 bases thing. To me, feels like it's just going to be too confusing. I understand. Yeah, the safety base. I get why it's used. I know Patrick Murphy's for it. I just feel we're headed for controversy if we brought that into the college game. I feel like people be confused which base is this and all that. Who knows? Let's talk a little bit how we got to the gold medal game. Because the U.S., this is the second walk-off win for the U.S. They beat Australia 2-1 in 8 innings. They couldn't score in that game either. They fell behind 1-0 on a walk with the bases loaded with Ramonica Abbott. But the U.S. comes back. Haley McClenny, by the way, let's just make this clear. Haley McClenny, pound for pound, is the best all-around softball player in the United States, maybe in the world. She could do it all. Period.
Literally everything.
I think everybody realizes that, and it was fitting because she was the one that broke up the no-hitter against Japan on Sunday night, and she was the one that beat out a ground ball to get on in the bottom of the 8th against Australia to make it 1st and 2nd, and eventually would score the game-winning run on the base hit by Chittister. After the sacrifice by Reed, they scored the 2 runs that way. Otherwise, man, this would have been a completely wild deal. So that was a dramatic victory. And again, Abbott and Cat have been the dominant 1-2 punch, as you would expect, to get them to this point. Again, I know everybody's focused on the offense, and it is a concern. But here they are, undefeated, and a win away from bringing back the gold. We'll see what happens. But Allie Carter, I can't get over this game still. I cannot get over Allie Carter and what a job she did in this game against Japan. Do you think this team now has a little mojo going into that gold medal game? Do you think this offense, with its struggles, do you think can this be something that carries over?
I really think so. Because twice in consecutive games, you have shown the ability to come up with the key hits late in games. And what do we talk about when we're talking about Ken Erickson and his teams at USF and coaching Team USA? Pitching, defense, and timely hitting. The offense doesn't have to be consistent for innings 1 through 5, but if it can come through in innings 6, 7, and beyond, that's where you win. That's where the money time is. That's winning time. That's what separates those good teams from those great teams and the championship teams. And USA versus Australia on Saturday night and tonight versus Japan, they have shown the ability to hit when it matters the most.
If you're Japan, I don't think, though, you lose confidence, right? Because if they play, you can say, you know what? You beat our backup players, basically. You're like, we're at home. We've done this, done that. I think both teams feel good going into this gold medal game. Yes,
there's nothing. It's one of those things where both teams can take away positives. And the analogy, the comparison I can best apply to this situation with USA and Japan playing today and then playing again for the gold medal is in the NFL when 2 teams are playing in the final week of the regular season. and knowing that they're going to be playing each other the next weekend in the wild card round, and simply playing to figure out who's going to have the home field advantage. You know you're going to see them again. You're just playing to see, okay, who's gonna be sleeping in their own beds come Saturday night or Sunday morning, or in the home hotel Saturday night, Sunday morning. So that's the biggest thing. So
yeah, and we needed a little drama here. This has not been an Olympic softball tournament that I would say has been dramatic to this point. Like I said, pitching's dominated, but you have a situation where low-scoring games. U.S.-Canada was a good game Wednesday night. U.S. won 1-0. It was a good game. Canada-Japan was a dramatic game. Too bad it was on stream only because, NBC just loves tape delay garbage. Can you do me a favor? Can you get the list of the nonsense sports that the Olympics has, that NBC has been showing? They're actually showing skateboarding on primetime NBC. And I'm not one to complain about, hey, softball is getting gypped on what channel they are. We went over this, but I tweeted this out, okay, on, I believe it was last night. It was Saturday night after the U.S. win against Australia, and they went straight to the studio. I forget the person that was the studio, and they did not even acknowledge the game. They went right into, I believe it was table tennis coverage, whatever. And I tweeted this out. If you did not appreciate what Meg Aronowitz and ESPN's coverage of softball before, you do now after watching the Olympics. Because it has been NBC, I think, has just been stealing money from they are so bad in the Olympics right now because they just are obsessed with tape delay after tape delay event. And it's absurd. And I think they have done a poor job with the softball coverage in that you're flipping them around to channels. Canada-Japan was a huge game, and it was not even shown. What the heck could you not be showing? It's a 1:30 a.m. Eastern game, and they're airing tape delay stuff at
10:30 p.m. Pacific time.
And they didn't air it. And it's been bad. And I feel for Beth and Michelle. They're trying their best, but you could tell they're kind of handcuffed there because you got to go right to break. There's people are complaining there's no replays. Yeah, there's no time. They're going boom, boom, boom. They're trying to go like at 100 miles an hour, trying to fit it in. And I hope one day NBC loses the Olympics. I got to be honest with you. I'm tired of it.
Ain't gonna be anytime soon, brother.
Well, I'm just gonna stop. And the interesting thing about it is if you go to the stream, they don't put the U.S. Broadcast. They put the international broadcast. That's not much better either. Let me just make this announcement, ladies and gentlemen. In softball, when it returns in Los Angeles, 2028, okay? And if you need international broadcasters to broadcast it internationally that know the game, actually, not a baseball guy that's confused, or you put in a female analyst that has done some softball as an analyst, but not a play-by-play person to call the games. No. Victor and I will offer our services in 2028 in Los Angeles. All right? We will do it. We'll take care of you. We're professionals. We know the sport. We know all the teams. Heck, Victor, for crying out loud, that's called the U.S. It's called games against Mexico. You've called games against Canada, right? I mean, you're already You're actually more qualified than the people they're using in the international broadcast that call Gabriella playing.
What? Time out.
What? Huh? That happened. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I watched it, the broadcast. It was not good. It's not been good. It's tough. Especially when it's a baseball guy and there was the play in the Canada-Japan game where there was a miscommunication about whether Danielle Laurie could come back into the game, can pitch and relieve and all that. And the guy had no idea what was going on. No idea what was going on. Heck, neither did the umpires, in fairness to him. But it was where Canada actually walked off the field and protested. And it took 10 minutes before they figured it out. They let Laurie pitch. He had no idea what was going on. No idea what was going on. And then the other broadcaster, she's been an analyst, so she knows softball. The problem is she's not a natural play-by-play person, so you don't need to get excited on a routine ground out. Okay? I'm giving you broadcast softball 101. At what point is softball? Why is it softball, Victor? Why is it always softball that gets shafted on broadcast where you have to put somebody that has no clue about the sport? This doesn't happen in any other sport. This doesn't happen in basketball. This doesn't happen in baseball. This happens to softball. Only in freaking softball. Guys, it's not hard to find softball broadcasters. We're two of them right here. I actually know more people too. If I'm not available or Victor's not available, I can call people. Stop using people that don't know the sport.
Are you done? Like being on your soap? Woo! Eric Lopez, ladies and gentlemen, on that soapbox on this Sunday evening.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable. Wow. I couldn't believe it when I saw the streaming.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And
wow.
that's just it just broke my I stayed up. I admit it. I stayed up to watch Canada. I've stayed up to watch a lot of these games. A lot of these games are streamed because apparently NBC only has like 1,000 channels. They don't have room, apparently. Apparently they don't have room. We got to make sure we have to air USA men's volleyball against France 3 times. We cannot air it just once. We got to air it 3 times, even though everybody knows the freaking result.
I got nothing for you, brother. I got nothing for you, my brother. I got nothing for you.
It's just, how does anybody put up with that nonsense coverage? Guys, it's 2021. Can we stop with the nonsense tape delay coverage, please? Anyway, now I'm done for the Olympics coverage.
Well,
my
Eric,
point is, thank you, Meg Aronowitz, for what you do. I don't want to ever hear anybody complain about ESPN's coverage of softball, please. Ever. That's my point.
Well, Eric, let's actually get to another important question. I kind of talked about this earlier. Mexico and Australia, they'll be playing at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The winner will take on Canada in the bronze medal game Tuesday morning at midnight Eastern time. Who do you got? Mexico or Australia?
That's a strange game. Australia's been weird in that they've only used Gabby Plain once.
You mean Gabriella Plain?
Apparently. Don't even get me started the other names they have. And good point, by the way. A good point by Jesse James. They literally came back from a commercial tonight to an 0-2 count. They have done that over and over.
Hitting. I remember that, yes.
They've done that consistently. They have been way off on their timing.
Gotta get those commercials. Gotta get that ad money.
Can you imagine how bad it would be if it wasn't Beth and Michelle?
Oof.
Think about that.
Wolf. That's all I gotta say. Wolf. But back to the question at hand. Mexico. I'm gonna
toss this to you a little bit here because you and our good friend Justin McLeod were on the Mexico bandwagon.
Yes.
To medal here. You had him bronze.
I had a bronze, yes.
So you're still in play here.
Yes, I'm still in play.
He's not. He had him to go to silver. So, sorry, Justin.
Sorry, Justin.
I don't know what to expect. These are two teams that have confused me a little bit on how they've managed their rosters.
Yeah.
Mexico, to me, has not been the best coached. Some of their moves have been peculiar. Like some of their roster moves have been weird. Like the game against USA, they didn't start Amanda Sanchez, but they brought her in to play for Sydney Romero. Like I don't know. I mentioned the aforementioned Danielle O'Toole was doing good and she was taken out. And it's just a lot of weird stuff. I don't know. What's significant about that game is Australia has medaled in every Olympics. That is in jeopardy, obviously. They must win this game to secure that. Otherwise, if Mexico wins, it'll be Mexico and Canada. I personally hope Canada wins the bronze. I think they've been clearly the third best team. I really feel for Canada. You think about it. They lost to U.S. 1-0, had a chance to win. And then you look at the Japan game. They had chances to win that game. They lost 1-0. I think Canada is the superior third best team. They've never medaled in the Olympics. I want to pick Canada against whoever gets out of that Mexico-Australia game. My guess would be that Australia will go with Parnaby because Parnaby didn't pitch against Team USA. I would say they go with her. And then Mexico, do they go O'Toole? Do they go Escobedo? They go both. Some people have suggested this, what Jeff Green is saying, that Gabby's a good pitcher, but Parnaby and Steptoe are a little better at this stage. Steptoe was at Oregon State, and she lost to UNLV, I want to say, this year. Gabby's better than Steptoe. Now, what I've heard, there's two factors that we don't know. To your point, Parnaby in particular has more international experience. The other thing is Gabby pitched a full load this year at Washington. So you wonder where she is from that standpoint. She may not be as effective right now as she would be if she was fully rested, didn't have a full season. So I think those are valid points. The Mexico thing, their offense, all that hype, it's kind of been shut down. Canada shut them out. USA shut them out. Japan, that was the game. If you're Mexico, you wish you had back. Was the Japan game. You had chances to win that game. You lose it in the international rule in extra innings against Japan. So I think it's a what if for them. The good news for Mexico is they got their first win against Italy. This is their first Olympics ever. You hope you built this if you're Mexico. And then if you're Australia, you're hoping to kind of sneak into this bronze medal game and keep your streak going against Canada. We shall see. But to me, as I look back at this tournament, I think U.S. and Japan were the two best teams. I think Canada was a close third. And then it's a toss-up between Mexico and Australia, and then Italy kind of in the sixth spot. To me, in that way, Victor, I don't think this has been a shocking tournament. This has kind of gone pretty much chalk, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people felt, you talked about this when we had our Olympic preview special last week, that there are 5 countries in contention to medal, and 4 were in contention to be in the gold. And right now, USA, Japan are in the gold medal game, and you got Canada locked into playing for the bronze, and we're going to find out who they'll be playing tomorrow morning. If it's going to be Mexico playing for their first medal, or Australia, who is the only country who has medaled in every Olympics for softball. I want to say Mexico, but the experience of Australia, you cannot overlook. They have so much experience led by Parnaby and Stacey Porter as well. I feel Mexico, they have the talent, but are they going to get out-coached by Australia? Because if you look at talent-wise, Mexico has a slight talent advantage than Australia. But in terms of coaching, I'll take Australia all day.
Well, and they've been here, done that type of deal, right?
Yes.
They've been around in the international game. No, that's a valid. I can't disagree with that. And finding that motivation to get yourself into that medal game, I just think Mexico, man, it's been off, right?
Yeah.
Like, remember when Escobedo was pulled, she wasn't happy. Like, there was a lot of, it's kind of not the body languages you liked from this tournament.
Right.
Australia, they didn't play good defense early in the tournament. I'll say this: if Australia plays like they did against Team USA, I think they win.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
If they play like they did, because that was their best game they played, and they just, bad luck. But I think if they play like that, they'll beat Mexico and play in the bronze medal game against Canada. I still like Canada, though. I think Canada will find a motivation. I know as gut-wrenching as that loss was, they were devastated. But they have never medaled in the Olympics. And
they have look. Vince Lombardi had a great quote where he talks about being perfect. It says, we're going to strive for perfection in every aspect, knowing very well that we're going to fall short. But on our path of perfection, we're going to obtain excellence. So if you're Canada, yes, your goal was the gold medal. But let's remember that you still have a chance to do something that no other Canadian softball team has ever done, and that's be on the podium. And I don't care what sport it is. I don't care what country you're from. There is something about being on that podium when it's all said and done. And if you're Danielle Laurie, if you're Jen Salling, you're Victoria Hayward, you want to be that. You want to have those medals around your neck when it's all said and done, and you get an opportunity to do that Tuesday night at midnight against either Mexico or Australia.
And they have nothing to be ashamed of. They played well, just bad luck, 1-0 losses. They're that close. And
yeah,
I think what's going to help them is they'll have this game against Italy. Then they'll have another day to get ready. I think they'll get over it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be ready for that bronze medal game. He's done it the whole tournament, so I don't see why he'll stop now. He's going to throw Sarah to start, Sarah Garnawagen, Kyra in relief, and then Laurie to close.
Yeah.
Maybe Regula too. And for them is, can they get enough offense? Jen Salling has been incredible. This is the best I've ever seen her swing the bat in her career, which is she's been tremendous. So if they can muster some runs early, I think they'll be fine and get that bronze. I think it's imperative. I hope they get the bronze. They earned a medal based on their play here. I think that would be awesome. I know they want the gold, but a bronze is a great step for them. And they have made up ground. They are right there with USA and Japan. It's not like, we're a distant third. They were right there. And got to build this up, build it up until hopefully 2028 for Los Angeles for everybody. But I think Sally has been tremendous. Victoria Hayward's been very good. The Canada pitching's been good. There's been the stories there. Haley McClenny's been the best player, I think, for U.S. Obviously, Monica and Kat been tremendous. Japan, Yukiko Ueno and Yamato and that group, and they've been tremendous. It's been a good tournament, not a great tournament. Although this game was dramatic here, hopefully if we get the gold medal game, this would be a game that people will remember, and because it'll be the last one for at least 7 years. So, let's hope for the best if it gets played, and if it doesn't, heck, it was still an exciting game here. So, this is obviously in the circle. Reminder: Monday's podcast. Lauren Lappin. Speaking of Olympics, she was part of the 2008 U.S. Olympic team. She will join us. She's the new assistant coach at Arizona. She was teammates with Caitlin Lowe on Team USA. We'll talk about that experience in the 2008 and being now on the Arizona staff. That's a fantastic interview. That'll be on our podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast devices. Make sure you check that out. The interview will also be on our YouTube page right now, which you're watching as well. And I want to give a shout out to the SID that made it happen, Victor.
Yes.
The SID, the new SID at Arizona, by the name
Kenny Martinez went over to for a future to a new endeavor. Congratulations to him.
Well deserved. Yes, well deserved.
Yes.
I want to thank the new SID, Katie Vick, for setting us up for Lauren Lappin.
We've had experience working with Katie's before on the on our podcast for various years.
Yes.
Right.
Nothing. If you're a wrestling fan, you might get it, but I'm not going to go there. It was not a very proud moment in the wrestling history. I'll just say there was a Katie Vick character back in the day.
Thank you. And we will just leave it at that.
That's correct. But no, seriously, that was cool. That's a pretty cool staff with Arizona there. They got going on over there. I want to give get your thoughts here. We got a couple more things we'll hit up before we call it a night.
By the way, on our episode tomorrow, I do address a little bit about the Texas Oklahoma stuff and share my thoughts. And then we're gonna have a podcast later on where we're really gonna go in depth on what it all means for softball and all the other stuff. So
yeah, we'll go into the next episode more. I want to see I just want to see the ink dry first. I don't want to jump the gun on all that. But that is significant news later in the week that we'll have to definitely discuss, among other realignments that's going on around college sports that will affect softball as well. We won't give away that in our next episode, but we have some other things in the works there on that. Real quick, Vic, big news, Division II. The national champions runner-up, Biola, is looking for a new head coach. As their head coach, Nikki Udria, is now the new assistant at Oregon. Pretty big news out of Division II.
Yeah, when you think about it, Eric, it makes sense why Oregon would go to her because she was an All-American at Oregon. And for Viola, looking for a head coach now, and that's all of a sudden a very attractive job in Division II because you have a roster that went to Game 3 before losing to West Texas A&M, and they have a bulk of their roster coming back. So whoever they go after for that job is going to be in a very prime position. And for a program that is just a couple years removed from joining Division II. So there's a lot. There's a lot of positives if you want to be in that particular job.
Very fascinating. I wanted your thoughts on that. Monday, we'll know who the new head coach at Stetson is. That's been kind of long coming. I don't know who it is. It's funny. I've made calls. I've texted people. Nobody knows. 10 a.m. We're going to find out.
That's going to be fascinating. I couldn't give you an idea of who it's going to be.
Let me ask you this. What are they inheriting? Whoever the coach is, who are they inheriting? What are they inheriting?
Well,
you've covered that, the league, the ASUN. We'll get into more of this in the next episode, but we'll give you a kind of, that's an interesting job at an interesting place in a league that's growing and could be stronger than ever before in softball.
Well, you're inheriting a team that has a lot of talent, some talent returning, headed up by Lizzie Schubert, and I feel whoever they bring in as a head coach, and we'll know at the same time as everyone else at 10 a.m. tomorrow, whoever that head coach is going to be is obviously going to be someone that they feel confident leading this program. Obviously, Frank Griffin, longtime head coach, retired earlier this summer. I don't have a read on who it could be. I don't have a read on who's going to be at Stetson. I really don't.
Neither do I. So that's one of the things we'll be monitoring on Monday as well. Noteworthy in that regard. And then once this Olympics, this softball tournament ends this week, it will end this week. Like that, I know.
We don't know if it's going to be on Tuesday morning or
it could be over already. It could be over. For all we know, this could have been it. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a softball thing to have a typhoon possibly affect. Could determine who wins the gold medal.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, I'm just shocked no one's blaming Oklahoma City for this, right? Every time there's weather. They don't have typhoons in Oklahoma City.
No, they got tornadoes, which thankfully we have not had.
Yeah. All right, Vic, now before we wrap it up here, you picked before the Olympics, USA over Japan.
Yes.
I went Japan over USA. You had Mexico for the bronze. I had Canada for the bronze. We're all in play here still.
All in play. Yes.
Are you encouraged, discouraged, concerned, optimistic about your pick? Where are you at right now? Where are you right now as we move forward here to medal round?
I still feel good about my gold and silver medal picks with USA being Japan. I feel I'm more leaning your side now towards Canada with the bronze, given the inconsistency that I've seen with Team Mexico. Now, obviously, if Mexico comes out and beats Australia tomorrow morning and has a shot at Canada again for the bronze medal on Tuesday at midnight, that could be an entirely different story. But right now, I'm leaning your way for Canada with the bronze medal.
Yeah. I think U.S.-Japan is a toss-up. Like, we keep trying to, what is the game, what between the two teams, or the game's going to be played in period? Oh, yes, to all the answers. Right? No, I mean, how many times do we have to see them play to realize they're very even? They're evenly matched, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you brought it up. The World Championships was a walk-off back when U.S. beat Japan.
Yep.
The gold medal game was a 2-run game. U.S. had the tying run at the plate. What have we seen that would prove to be any different? Look at this game. This game supposedly wasn't a gold medal game.
Meaningless game.
Turned into a walk-off. So I think it's going to be dramatic if they play it. Go Aussies, says Jeff Gray. There you go. Some Aussies there. I'm all for Australia. I love Australia, by the way. I've been to Australia. I'm excited about Brisbane getting the Olympics 2032.
Yes.
I think that is significant, Victor. I don't think we've talked about that with you. That came down on Wednesday. And I think if the softball can get into the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles, I think they'll be in 2032 in Brisbane.
Easily. And they've already talked about what they want to do with Brisbane, with the Olympics, have 10 teams in the Olympics instead of the 6. So, hey, you've asked for expansion, brother. You may have to wait to 2032 at the latest, but you're going to get it.
Wow. I didn't know about the 10-team part.
That's what they are hoping to have.
Well, they have the depth to do it. Think about a team like a Puerto Rico, for example, that did not qualify for the Olympics. They have talent. They could certainly be in that mix. Chinese Taipei, China, who used to be, the power.
Yeah,
remember?
China,
U.S. 25 years beat China for the gold in '96 in Atlanta. And you're not going to get a complaint from me. Let's just get better. When does that NBC contract end? Can we find that out? Come on. I mean, seriously.
Hopefully I'll have that for you between now and the.
Can you find the list? Have you found the list of the sports they have?
Too numerous to name and too much.
Oh no. We want to go off here. This is the list. This is the ELO list here. You're on the list.
Look here, brother. I still have a podcast to edit, so we're gonna save that list for Tuesday morning. Yeah, list for
100 moves of Malenko. No.
Oh, brother. Here we go. Okay, programming though, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you still with us. Our Thursday podcast is going to be moved up a day to Wednesday.
Unless let me just paraphrase. We this was our plan. Yes, I did not anticipate a tsunami of affecting the Olympic schedule. So let me just say this:
the game is played on time. We're gonna move the podcast on. We're gonna have the podcast on Wednesday. If for whatever reason the tsunami prevents the gold medal game from being played, we're still gonna be on our regular Thursday. So,
or it could be. I mean, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what happens. It's a tsunami. I don't know. This is in our history of In the Circle, which goes back to 2015. I can honestly say we've never had to worry about a tsunami. We've had hurricanes to worry about, either from a production standpoint, from doing shows, or obviously other people that listen to us affected by that. And certainly we have people that listen in Japan. I just don't know what a tsunami is going to do to the schedule. And we're not in Japan. We don't have anybody that's covering the tsunami for us to tell us what's going to happen. So we could be on Wednesday, or we could be on Thursday. If everything stays on schedule and there are games played on Tuesday, if there's a gold medal game on Tuesday, we will be on Wednesday. We will be back. We will be on. The podcast will come out the day after the gold medal game. How about that? Unless the game we just saw was the gold medal game, and then I don't have an answer.
Yeah,
I'll let Victor decide that.
We'll figure it out.
Then we'll just recap it again. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Trust me.
Tsunami.
We'll make it work. What can I say? We'll make
real quick. All right. U.S. timely hitting. Japan, if they play the game, timely hitting is the key. We saw this in this game tonight. Timely hitting is the key. I think the pitching will be dominant as per usual, and it's going to come down to a timely hit, a 1-0, 2-1 game. Either way. That's my final thoughts.
Yep. Agreed. I agree.
I'm exhausted. Mario, but we got a heck of a crowd here. It's almost midnight, and I'm pretty blown away. We got people Australia tuning in. We're an international show here, Victor.
What can I say? We love.
I think that qualifies us to be in the international broadcast in future Olympics. We actually know the sports.
Look, we're a podcast. We're a podcast of the softball fan, by the softball fan, and for the softball fan, ladies.
Heck, if you said I think if they have ballroom dancing, Vic could even broadcast that. Probably give you a play-by-play. You're a good dancer.
Yeah, about that ball. Yeah, about that.
All right, Vic, sign us off. You've started the show. I will let you close the show.
Yes, tomorrow podcast. Lauren Lappin will be joining us on the show. We'll also have parts of this live show that you're watching tonight as part of our podcast as well. and then our next podcast will be some point in the middle of the week. When that will be, we don't know. Follow us on social media.
Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be Wednesday or Thursday, more than likely.
It'll be Wednesday or Thursday. It's one of those 2 days. What day that will be, as soon as we find out, we will let you know. Definitely yes. Typhoon permitting. Thank you, Karen, for correcting Eric. We appreciate that.
It's midnight.
Typhoon permitting, we will be on Wednesday.
So a typhoon will impact our broadcast, not a tsunami.
Yes. Typhoon permitting, we'll have our podcast on Wednesday where we'll recap the gold medal game and everything that happened. And hey, just stay tuned and find out what we got. So for Eric, I'm Victor. This is the part where we say goodnight, Australia, Canada, and all countries in between and around the world. You've been watching In the Circle Live, Olympic recap show.
I still can't believe what I just saw.
By the way, Tuesday morning, typhoon permitting, we'll talk to you after the gold medal game. Until then, we'll talk to you later.